Number 10. December the 26th, 2016. Prior to her birthday, the parents of Ruby Ibarra Garcia accidentally posted a public invitation for everyone to attend her 15th party. Held in La Jolla community in central Mexico, a horse race was to be put on in her honor, with the winner taking away a grand prize of 10,000 pesos, or about $490. The invitation went viral on social media, and thousands of people turned up to help her celebrate her special day and partake in the race. 66-year-old Felix Peña was one attendee that hoped to walk away a winner. A local stable worker, Peña regularly raced horses and had entered his own horse, Oso Dormido, into the event. As he stood cheering on, he somehow stepped into the path of a galloping horse and was trampled. Some eyewitnesses speculated that he might have misjudged the distance and speed of the oncoming horse, but it's still unclear what had led the experienced horseman into its path. Peña was rushed to a hospital but died on the way. When asked about the party, police said that, apart from his accident, it had gone on peacefully. Number 9. 22nd of May, 2021. Steven Anderson and his family traveled for a weekend getaway to Center Hill Lake, Tennessee, with 2 other couples to celebrate his birthday. Unfortunately, the celebrations were abruptly cut short on Saturday. Whilst enjoying a day at the lake, the father of 2 fell from a rock bluff and died. He had decided to scale the rocks to gain a better vantage point from which to jump into the lake, but as he was climbing, he lost his footing. He was seen hitting rock after rock as he tumbled down the cliff and into the water. The recovery process required the collaboration of many, but his body was finally found and recovered with the use of a remote aquatic robot 165 feet below the surface. Number 8. 22nd of May, 2021. Another person tragically fell to their death at a birthday party, also on May the 22nd of 2021. 24-year-old investment firm employee Cameron Pirelli was attending a rooftop party in Manhattan's East Village when she slipped and fell between 2 buildings. It was reported that she'd been trying to climb between 2 rooftops and was attempting to use an air conditioning vent when she slipped. She fell at around 3 a.m. on Saturday morning and was taken to a local hospital where she was declared dead. Authorities didn't suspect foul play, but Pirelli's family was left confused as she'd never been one to take risks. Her death prompted officials to call for a crackdown on a string of weekly overcrowded and noisy rooftop parties reported in the area. Number 7. Teodoro Macias, May the 9th, 2021. Sandra Ibarra and her extended family were gathered to celebrate her birthday on May the 9th of 2021, when it was crashed by her boyfriend. Fueled by rage over not being invited, her boyfriend, Teodoro Macias, showed up to the birthday party and opened fire on the attendees. The couple had been dating for a year, but recent tensions between Macias and her family, stemming from another family gathering, compelled her to forego his invite. 7 people were killed, including Ibarra and Macias, who ended the attack by taking his own life in front of adults and children alike. Extensive interviews with Ibarra's family led police to believe that, at the core, it had been a horrendous act of domestic violence and characterized Macias as controlling and jealous. Number 6. December the 15th, 2015. 2 gunmen forced their way into a children's birthday party at a motel in Santee, South Carolina, in what was deemed as an attempted robbery. The armed robbers forced the 2 adults, 3 children, and 1 infant in attendance into a corner and demanded that the father of the birthday girl give them his property. The man was about to begin cutting his daughter's birthday cake when the 2 party crashers barged in, brandishing guns. According to reports, the gunman fired shots outside the room and even held up a 7-year-old child at gunpoint as a means of scaring the victims. Once the robbers got what they wanted, they made a quick getaway in a woman's car but were caught soon after. Police identified the perpetrators as Santee locals 24-year-old Alexander Outlaw and 17-year-old Rufus Gates. Outlaw was charged with 6 counts of kidnapping, first-degree burglary, and possession of a weapon during a violent crime and was given a 10-year sentence. Gates faced multiple charges of kidnapping, armed robbery, and possession of a weapon, but the charges were dropped. Still a minor, Gates pleaded guilty to second-degree robbery and was sentenced to a maximum of 5 years under the Youthful Offenders Act. Police identified the getaway car and the driver pled guilty to misprision of a felony, but the judge dropped her 5-year sentence to 1 year on probation. Number 5. July 28th, 2019. Fit and healthy Cambridge University graduate Dominic Hamlin unexpectedly died at his brother's birthday party while performing a party trick he'd practiced since childhood. It was more of a challenge in which opponents would swim as many lengths of the pool as they could underwater before they had to rise to the surface to take a breath. Hamlin had swum about 2.5 lengths when he became unresponsive and stopped moving. His unconscious body was pulled from the water within seconds, and his father, a neurosurgeon, began to give him emergency treatment until paramedics arrived. Despite the quick response, doctors were not able to save him, and he died in a hospital 15 hours later. In the past, Hamlin was known to reach 5 or 6 lengths before needing to take a breath. The official cause of death was acute cardiac arrhythmia, but doctors stated they could only speculate on the underlying cause to which his death could be attributed. Number 4. May 30th, 2020. Ryan Farrell rented a high-rise apartment building in Melbourne to celebrate his girlfriend's birthday, but left in handcuffs after stabbing and killing his childhood best friend, Liam Cahill. A few hours into the party, Cahill had an altercation with another guest, and Farrell promptly asked him to leave. Offended that he was the one being kicked out, a fight broke out between the friends. During the brawl, Farrell grabbed a kitchen knife and plunged it through Cahill's chest. The victim stumbled into the hallway before collapsing and dying. Farrell, upon finding his body, pleaded with him to wake up, but then chose to flee by scaling the apartment building and breaking into another flat. He was spotted by police at the bottom and he was taken into custody. In court, Farrell insisted that Cahill had punched him first and had him backed into a corner. Nonetheless, Farrell said he was consumed with guilt and regret. He pled guilty to manslaughter. Cahill and Farrell had grown up side by side since primary school and were both studying as apprentice plumbers. Cahill's father condemned it as a despicable act of betrayal and vowed he'd never forgive Farrell. Number 3. 28th of February 2020. Russian influencer Ekaterina Didenko's birthday party in February of 2020 turned to tragedy when a stunt involving dry ice went wrong. The famous blogger and her husband had been hosting friends at a Moscow pool complex to celebrate her 29th when over 55 pounds of dry ice were thrown into a swimming pool. It was intended to create a dramatic visual effect to impress guests, but instead sent 7 people to the hospital and killed 3. When added to the pool, the frozen carbon dioxide created a thick, toxic vapor that caused acute carbon dioxide poisoning and chemical burns to partygoers in the pool. Didenko's husband was amongst those taken to the hospital, but his injuries proved too severe and he was pronounced dead shortly after. While at the hospital, Didenko posted multiple videos to her 1 million subscribers, updating them on her state and breaking the news about her husband. As her following began to grow in the aftermath, she continued to post videos documenting her grief, for which she was branded immoral. Prior to the tragedy, as a trained pharmacist, Didenko dedicated her page to sharing advice about at-home medicine, along with glimpses into her personal life. Today's topic was requested by Scotty Lewis and P. Calls. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. December the 24th, 2019. Caroli Dawn Taylor's uncle was hosting her 46th birthday party at his house in Harris County, Texas, when her violent ex-boyfriend, Albert Benjamin Simon, turned up and demanded to see her. Taylor's uncle had watched Simon pull up in front of his house just before 9 p.m. and, recognizing who he was, walked out to meet him. Simon, in turn, met him with the barrel of a gun pointed at his chest and forced his way into the party. Moments after the final notes of "Happy Birthday" rang out, brandishing 2 guns, he took Taylor outside onto the porch and threatened to kill her if any partygoers called the police. Shortly after, multiple gunshots echoed out, and Taylor's uncle is said to have found her dead with 5 gunshot wounds to her head and body. Simon fled the scene and was missing for several days, during which he apparently sought out a friend to hide his car and confessed to the murder. 4 days after the shooting, Simon was located sitting on a bench in Herman Park. The altercation that followed led a deputy to open fire on the hostile suspect, hitting him at least 2 times. He was rushed to the closest hospital but succumbed to his injuries. Number 1. October the 6th, 2018. 18 people were riding in a 2011 Ford Excursion limousine on the afternoon of October the 6th of 2018 when it crashed in Schoharie, New York. The group had gathered to celebrate the birthday of Amy Steenberg and was made up of her newlywed husband as well as her closest friends and relatives. The limousine was on the way to the birthday venue at a local brewery when it blew through an intersection, crashed into a parked car and went flying into a ravine, along with the death of the driver and all 17 passengers. 2 nearby pedestrians were struck and killed in the crash. Investigations into the tragedy found fault in the vehicle, the driver, and the company. The limousine had failed 2 mechanical inspections for deficient brakes and been ordered out of service by the state. Furthermore, the vehicle was only certified to take 10 of the 17 passengers, and the driver was licensed to take less than 15. The owner and operator, Nauman Hussein, was arrested and charged for criminally negligent homicide and second-degree manslaughter. He fought the accusation by stating the brake failure was unforeseen and that the owner should be on the fraudulent shop they had hired to fix the brakes. The limousine crash made history as the deadliest U.S. transportation accident in 9 years. Thanks for watching. Would you rather never celebrate your birthday again or never be able to travel abroad again? Let us know in the comments section below.